I thought I'd run you through how to call in your cut sheet for a whole or half hog that you've purchased. When you call in, your order will be taken by the lady up front at Greenleaf named Shirley. She will just go through the list with you. You don't have to submit any papers or anything like that. She will take care of all of it for you. So I'm going to flip my camera around and we're going to go through the list. All right, so half hog is pretty straightforward compared to a beef. You'll call in and it may not be in this order, but we're going to go through what's on a pig. So first we have chops. You're going to be asked how many chops you want per package. Lots of people do 2. If you have a big family, you could do 4 or 6. And how thick. Typically it's 3/4 inch or 1 inch. You could also have done with this meat kebab, stew, or stir fry. That's like the little chunks that are boneless that are ready to go, but that will eat into how many chops you get. Okay, then she's going to move on and ask you about your roasts, which are from your shoulder on a hog. And if you're doing all roasts, she'll just ask you what size they are. So usually a typical roast is 2 to 3 pounds, but if you have a bigger family, 3 to 4, and you could go up from there. Your pork roasts also come from the shoulder, so you could request your pork roast as well, and that would be the same as the chops, how many per package and how thick. Okay, we move on to belly, which is where your bacon comes from. They will cure it for you and slice it if you like, so that's what most people do. This particular place, though, we're working on something different, but they still use sugar and some nitrate. It is really delicious, though, and it is a very small amount of nitrate, honestly. Okay, if you don't want that though, you can leave it uncured and it can still be sliced. You can leave it whole, or you can have it cut into chunks, or what they call slabs. Okay, then they'll move down to your ham, which is essentially the pig's leg. And they'll ask you if you want your whole ham. Okay, that's going to be huge. So most people will have their ham cut in half or even thirds. You can even have part of your ham cut into ham steaks so that it's more functional if you are just doing small meals. If you don't want it cured, cure is an extra charge, by the way, then you can just leave it fresh, and that would give you even more roasts that typically are used for a pulled pork type meal. Very, very great for slow cooking. Okay, you can get your tenderloin by request. There is 1 per half animal. So if you have a whole, you're going to get 2. If you have a half, you'll just get 1. You have to request that. You could also do loin roasts by request. That's going to eat into your chops, but some people like to do a loin roast. Then we're going to go on to your ground meat. It's called grind or ground. So you can have your grind packaged in 1, 1.5, or 2 pound packages, and they can be a combination of any of these things. Ground pork, that's just going to be plain, that you can season yourself. That's actually what we prefer. Breakfast, spicy, or Italian. Italian, by the way, is the only one that's sugar-free. Of course, ground pork is, because it's straight ground pork. Okay, baby backs, you can request those. Let's be clear, on a hog, there's only 2 racks of baby backs per animal. So if you get a half, you're only going to get 1 rack. If you have a whole hog, you'll get 2. Then also, just so you know, if you take your baby backs, then your chops up here, your rib chops, they will not have bones in them because the bones go with the baby backs. Okay, she'll ask if you want to keep your spare ribs. You definitely can do that. They'll put them in a rack, package them for you, or you can send them to grind. That'll just give you a little bit more ground meat or sausage. Your hocks, some people still like to keep those and they cure them for like ham and bean type things. You could have them fresh, or you can just make them into more sausage. I usually just send them to grind. That's what we use the most of, is ground pork. And then the last thing is fat and bones. She's not going to ask you about those. If you'd like fat, you just need to tell her that you want a bag or 2. It can be overwhelming if you ask for all of your fat, so you might just say, hey, I want a bag of fat, or I really, really want 2 bags, and see what they can come up with. Bones, you can also ask for a bag of bones, and those can be saved for dogs, or if you're into pork broth, you could do that as well. Okay, I hope this helps.